podcast is intended for mature audiences. The views and opinions expressed are those of the panelists and do not reflect in any way those of the podcast partners, sponsors, or affiliates. Enjoy.
ThaBoxingvoice.com. All the guys want, I want what Mayweather got. I want what Mayweather got. You didn't bust your ass like Mayweather. I was trying to fight every fighter. I sacrificed a lot
Productions
to get to where I got to.
What do you bring to the table?
Let's get this on. Let's do it. Well, it's like this. Wait.
All right, that's it. Hold on. Bernard, everybody calm down.
Man, you know how these bitches is in the sport. Total disrespect. Kid has no class, no style at all.
Yo, welcome back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Boxing Voice Radio. I'm your host, Nestor Gibbs. Find me on Instagram and Twitter at NesGTO. I know it's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you without a dope podcast to check to. Don't worry about it. Me and main man Michael Gross, we're back. We're going to have Steve Farhood, Showtime analyst, commentator, right alongside of us, right around the 5:15 mark. So tell a friend in the next 14 minutes or so, we should have Steve Farhood. And we're going to ask him some questions. I mean, Eddie Hearn is out here saying he's been told by Anthony Joshua to make the Wilder fight. Well, look, Farhood has lived through the Mayweather-Pacquiao era, the, Lennox Tyson era. So he might be able to fill us in. Plus, hey, he works for Showtime, where ultimately this fight will either land or be co-promoted or, co-streamed, whatever you want to call it. But like I said, man, I'm glad to be back. So if you're just joining us on this live stream, hit that thumbs up button and, share the show. It helps with the visibility. And plus, we're going to be having Farhood on at 5:15. Steve Farhood, he's part of that dynamic duo that is Steve Farhood and Al Bernstein. But yeah, let me go ahead and get into our co-host. But before we do that, don't forget the number to call in, 1-425-569-5241, to obviously partake on this topic. Eddie Hearn told by Anthony Joshua to make the Wilder fight. Is it damage control, or are they being genuine with wanting to make this Wilder fight? Let me head on out to my man in Indiana, Michael Gross.
I speak it, believe it, receive it. Speak it, believe it, receive it. Speak it, believe it, receive it. I can't say it enough. I speak it, believe it.
2 attempts, handed bands over. Sicko hit, shot and miss. 2 to stand over. Turn up. Breadwinner, huh? Look who in the building. Let me check my Instagram. I might be at 1 million. And I'm in.
ThaBoxingvoice.com.
Yo, what's going on, baby? We're back here with another one. About time, man. That's been on vacation, you know what I'm saying? Living it up in the DR. Mike been here with his head down, trying to get these interviews for y'all. So we're here to talk about Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua telling him to make the fight. All I got to say, man, hey, I like what I'm hearing from AJ. If you really want to fight, then this is how you go about doing it. So hats off to him. And let's see if Eddie can wait a little while after the December 1st to start some real negotiations and stop making ultimatums about this date and that date. But hey, what's going on, Robbie? Good to see you, brother.
And the main thing we cannot forget is I am the unified heavyweight champion of the world.
Dylan White, Derek Chisora, Big Baby Miller, Joe Joyce, you can all have it, Dominic Brazil, whoever else is in America too. All of it!
ThaBoxingvoice.com.
Yeah, welcome back, everybody. Another edition of the Boxing Voice. You heard him. He is the unified heavyweight champion of the world. So he's told Eddie Hearn, go and make that fight. Believe it's a 2-fight deal. Yeah, we'll chop it up. I know, maybe, is this damage control as Nez is putting it out there? But yeah, I think we all want the fight. We're going to have to wait and see what happens December 1st. But December 2nd, let's hopefully get the ball rolling and we get this fight made.
I got a question for you, Ness. Why did you call it damage control, though?
What is your perception of Anthony Joshua at the moment?
My perception of Anthony Joshua at the moment, I mean, I'm on IG a lot, so I just see him living his life, you know what I'm saying, having fun, and not really worried about the boxing aspect. But when he does worry about it, he calls Eddie and tell him to handle it. I think that's what he does.
So, as a boxing fan, I guess, not a person watching his IG, because you mentioned nothing about boxing. What is your perception of Anthony Joshua? Because I'm sure I can ask you the same question about Crawford, and you'd have a list of things to say, and I can ask you the same question about Spence, and you'd also have a list of things to say. So I'm just asking you to tighten that thinking cap and truly give a genuine answer.
My thoughts on Anthony Joshua: he is a unified champion. He is a heavyweight champion. He's not scared to get in the ring, in my opinion, with anybody. And in my opinion, that he does want to fight, but there's management in the way, and now he's trying to, like Wilder said, be his own boss and tell that management to, hey, start moving things along, and we need to make this fight happen. I'm tired of people saying that I'm scared or I'm ducking this man.
So what do you mean by he's tired and he's now trying to be his own management? I mean, those I don't know if maybe Rob wants to help that. I don't know. It just sounds a little incriminating.
I don't think it's necessarily. Go ahead, Rob.
No, it sounds like you've just explained what Nez means by damage control. He's had enough of people saying this. He's had enough of people calling him a duck. He's had all this, and now he's, I guess Nez is trying to say, is he trying to make this deal now because he's got to save some face or something? But
is it enough, or does he like what he been saying? I really want this fight.
Well,
I think actions speak louder than words. That'll be about the biggest statement I say.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think maybe off the back of this Fury and Wilder fight, Eddie and the team or whatever have seen that this has got bigger than they probably thought. Eddie was out in the media saying, if the fight even happens, he might not even Fury might not even pulled out of how many fights. It might not even happen. We're a week away, and it looks like it's quite a big thing. Showtime putting out hella promotions and this, that, and the other, and is it all passing by Joshua? I think they want it to be a big fight in Wembley because they've apparently made it that it will be 100,000 seats this time, and it needs that big fight for that day, I think. So let's hope that numbers are good and we get a fight and the ball gets rolling, because apparently he's trying to go around Shelley Finkel still regarding this deal. He wants to try and cut out Finkel because he puts emotion in the way of business, but I'm sure Finkel will be brought into it for whatever reason. But yeah, I just want it to be made at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't see how Anthony Joshua's words is not matching his actions. Like, elaborate for me, Ness. Like you said, his words.
Well, allow me to use good old-fashioned box rag. Let's see here.
Are we going down a rabbit hole again about the records and shit?
Sure. No, not records. Timeline.
Okay.
Timeline. Fights are dates and times in the year. So he defeated Charles Martin on March 9th, 2016. Immediately, Deontay Wilder asked for unification, saying that Sophia, which is the WBC title, wanted or needed to be amongst her sister wives.
Yes.
Joshua chose then, obviously, not to fight. And look, who cares, right? I mean, did Earl Spence unify his second time? I mean, his first defense? Absolutely not. Probably no one other than maybe Lomachenko has unified in their second, defense or their first defense. But the timeline starts there. We don't have to go down a laundry list of names. We know that it starts there. We know that Deontay Wilder expressed interest in 2016.
But it wasn't the right time to make the fight, though.
And when you say right time, what do you mean by that? Because again, that just falls in the category of damage control, but please elaborate.
To capitalize on the most money possible, because the amount of attention that it has right now.
I'm a lot smarter than I look, so you're saying they couldn't make the most money at that time?
Absolutely.
Okay. So again, public perception. One guy wanting the fight in 2016, one guy saying, yeah, it ain't the right time because the money's not right.
Who were the other bout holders at the time?
Excuse me?
Who were the other bout holders at the time?
I believe, AJ had the IBF, so there was a WBA out there and a WBO. I would say Joseph Parker. Or it could have been vacant because I know that Ruiz and Parker had to fight for it. And then the WBA also could have been vacant because I know that AJ ultimately fought Vlad for it as a vacant fake unification.
Yeah. It doesn't necessarily have to be Joshua that he unifies with, right? That's what I'm saying.
Oh, no, it doesn't necessarily, but that's not actually the debate, right? The debate is Joshua's perception in the public and this forcing Eddie Hearn to make the fight is all damage control because, again, you're right. He doesn't have to unify with Joshua, but he verbally called out Joshua after that fight. So timeline is all I'm saying. Timeline is there. I mean, I went to Alabama. There's a video where he's talking about it. You know, he even says that Charles Martin was rushed and ill-advised into taking that fight, but he understood that, you know, he heard the rumblings and it was somewhere around $5.6 million. So he understood why Martin took it. But there's an infamous video out there of Wilder saying that he should have never took that fight. And now, you know, immediately after saying he should have never took that, he said, I want that fight. You know, I want to unify. And he says in that video that, you know, it wouldn't happen. Here we are 2 years later, and we're still hearing AJ say, make that fight. Like, that's funny to me. I just wonder how the rest of the world is not getting, like, how do you, like, it's like Mike said earlier. He's like, oh, he's finally taking control and being his own manager. So wait, he wasn't his manager when he said he wanted to fight Wilder in 2016?
I mean, let me give
you.
Wait
a minute, Mike. Or was he his own manager when he said in 2016, I won't be rushed, I'll fight him in 2019, 2020? Because I think he's always been his manager. If you look at the facts, he told you he won't fight him until possibly next year or the following. And we're pretty much coming up to that deadline.
I had an interview with Tunde Ajayi, and one thing that stood out was
Nigerian trainer. I hope you really dug in and said what was his opinion on Anthony Joshua and the avoidance of this Wilder fight.
We talked about it a little bit, but what came off to me was when he said everything is timing, and just because somebody wants to fight then and maybe in the public's perception the other guy doesn't want it. It's all about making the fight at the right time.
Oh, man, but I listened to your interview, and timing in that interview, the definition of timing in that interview is when the right time for my guy to beat that guy. Okay, so, yeah, AJ's going to keep saying timing because guess what? Wilder's going to keep getting older.
But I don't see Wilder.
Triple G Canelo was going to keep saying, I got balls and I am your gallo. But the fight took 2 years to make.
But we know heavyweights age differently. So if he really thinking about timing, he's going to be ducking for another 5 years.
Listen to me. Absolutely. A heavyweight is still good at 30s. But Wilder's 30 what?
33.
Okay.
Black don't crack.
How old is 28-year-old young, tight, healthy skin looking AJ?
Right.
I think I'm right with the 28, right?
I think he's about 28.
29.
Yeah. But like I said, bro, like, I mean, when it comes to this boxing shit, man, you gotta understand most of these guys grew up and watched Floyd Mayweather.
But Mike, how could we talk about timing when AJ's resume is better? Isn't that the argument running across the internet that Wilder has fought no one?
Like Wilder on that record, though, baby.
I can't hear you.
I mean, they say his record is better, but there's no opponent like Wilder on that record. Nobody.
Listen, it wouldn't matter. AJ still has a better resume. So if we're talking timing, technically speaking, AJ, amongst most boxing pundits, and let me call Steve Farhood, is the technically better fighter. But you guys chop it up. Let me get to Farhood.
example, and maybe the fans can like relate to it. In the NBA season, the first 10 games, first 15 games, people might not play or go against the best competition. So they might have a 13-2 record or a 15-0 record. But once they go against that certain team, you can really see how good they really are. And what I'm saying for this case, AJ might be one of those teams that has good competition, but there's still certain teams out there like the Warriors or like whoever else that are at the top. So when that fight comes or when that game comes, we can really see who the best fighter is. And like I said, timing is everything. Go ahead, Rob.
No, I mean, I was just about to shit all over your NBA analogy, but I think we're getting Steve Farhood on the line, so maybe I should ease off on that because he can get a little bit shouty, right? But
I thought you would be happy because Sky Sports got NBA.
All right, guys. Well, we do have Steve Farhood on the line, analyst and commentator. Official, unofficial scorecard for Showtime. And Steve, I just want to welcome you to the show and thank you once again for taking the time out, obviously, of your busy schedule to just talk some boxing with some good old-fashioned guys that love to talk boxing. So our topic today, obviously, is the big news. Eddie Hearn has been told by Anthony Joshua to make this Deontay Wilder fight. And the question we're posing to our listeners is this genuine or is it damage control because of public perception?
I think it's pretty real, and I think the reason I say that we got a hint of this when Joshua fought his most recent fight when he beat Povetkin, and he was in the ring and he was being interviewed by the Sky TV reporter, and he said, "Yeah, I'm going to fight in April," and yeah, I forget the exact date, but I'm going to fight in April. And then who are you going to fight? Who are you going to fight? And he was coy at first, and then finally he cracked and he said, "I want Deontay Wilder," and I think that he sort of dug his own future by saying that. So if he at this point publicly states that he wants Wilder next, and he tells his promoter that, he doesn't look very good if he doesn't get him. Who's running this ship, the promoter or the fighter? Well, it should be the fighter. I think in Joshua's case, it is the fighter. And I'm guessing Joshua's probably sick of people asking him, everywhere he goes, when are you going to fight Wilder? So we don't have the fight yet because Wilder has a pretty tough fight ahead of him in a week or so, a week from tonight, actually. So let's see what happens there, and then hopefully we can get that unification.
Let me introduce you to my co-host, Robert from the UK. Rob, take it away.
Hi, Steve. Yes, Rob, one of the co-hosts here. I just wanted to get your opinion. So have you ever been on the opinion that Joshua has been like ducking this fight for any reason of like being scared, or do you think they wanted it to be built bigger or anything along those lines?
No, I don't think it's a question of him being scared. It might be a case of economic fear coming from his promoter because, Joshua's in a very unique position, being able to draw 80,000, 90,000 to Wembley whenever, regardless of whom he fights. That's an unusual position. I mean, he's been earning more than 10 times what Deontay Wilder's been earning in fights. So one fighter had all the leverage. And when you have leverage, boxing is a business. So it's not a question of fear, I don't think. It's a question of, waiting for the right time and maximizing the income that will be generated by the fight. And at this point, I think, public perception is a big factor in when these fights get made and if they get made. And I think, there's a lot of pressure now on Joshua to fight Wilder, and there'll be even more if, let's just say, Wilder knocks out Fury. There'll be more pressure. Now, if Wilder looks lousy against Fury, then it doesn't sell the fight as well. But if he knocks out Fury, who is a huge star in England, a huge name in England, I think that'll even add more pressure to making a Joshua Wilder fight.
And Michael Gross in Indiana.
How's it going today, Mr. Farhood?
Good. How are you, Michael?
I'm doing pretty good. Is it safe to say that maybe Eddie was guiding AJ's career for the first 22 fights, and then, like most fighters, when you get experience in this boxing game, like the likes of Floyd Mayweather or like Mikey Garcia, you kind of want to start taking your career in your own hands?
Yeah, I think, especially in this era, this isn't the Joe Louis era or the, even the Muhammad Ali era. I don't think those fighters back then had as much control over what they do now. I think the fighters are smarter today. I think they understand things better. And I think Joshua is a very bright guy. And I think he understands both the economics of the sport, the politics of the sport, and boxing itself. And, there comes a point, I think, where the public has as much to do with the making of a fight as the businessmen and the promoters. And I think that's the case here because, you have a division where these two guys have cleaned out the division pretty much. Povetkin now has been beaten. If Fury is beaten next weekend, he's gone. Joseph Parker was undefeated. He's been beaten. There aren't that many options for these guys either anymore. And every time they fight someone other than each other, it kind of makes them look bad. And I think they understand that. And I think that's the public perception. And that's part of the reason this fight's getting made now.
I got a quick follow-up to that.
Yeah, Mike.
I was just asking, with the advent of social media, do you think fighters actually need promoters anymore?
Well, social media controls PR and controls image, but it doesn't make it doesn't make fights in terms of the economics. The promoters, you still need somebody to take the economic risk to make big fights, and social media can't provide that. So yes, I think promoters are still necessary, and it's up to the promoters to use social media and the fighters to use social media because we know now many fights over the last decade or so have been made because of social media. So a smart young fighter today who has some talent and gets a name has to use social media just as much as he has to use his own skills, to further his career. So it's a big factor, but I don't think it replaces promoters.
Steve, can you see, I guess, a world where, and just for analogy purposes, Earl Spence doesn't have to fight Sean Porter and Keith Thurman and whatever other welterweight is on the quote unquote PBC side or other side of the street before giving the fight fans the fight that they want, which is Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, Earl Spence, Terrence Crawford, right? Like, why do we have to wait for this quote unquote timing, which really equates to economics, the most money we're going to make? Is it really the best time for the fight?
It's a very good point. And yes, it's possible that an Errol Spence and a Terrence Crawford will never fight. It's possible that a Joshua and a Wilder will never fight. But here's, again, I think that there's two factors that push for these fights to be made. One, I said already, which is the public. The public has a lot of say, both in terms of social media and in terms of economics. The other is the fighter himself. You got to remember, guys that get to this level are incredibly, incredibly competitive guys. And you'd like to think that they have enough pride in their ability to want to be clearly number one. And to be number one, if you're a welterweight, and if you're Thurman, or if you're Spence, or if you're Crawford, you got to beat the other guys. And if you don't, you're going to get criticized on social media, you're going to get criticized by the press, and you're going to go to the barbershop and you're going to hear it. So I think that's part of it too. After a while, these fighters have to learn to control their own careers. And if they want to be the best and they want to have a legacy and they want to be Hall of Famers and they want to be all-time greats, well, you don't play it safe. So let's see what these guys do. There are always fighters who will play it safe, a few, but I think the real great fighters, for the most part, want to fight the best. I really, maybe that's a Pollyanna optimistic view, but I really do believe it.
With obviously Wilder and Fury facing off at Staples Center next Saturday, how do you, in your experience, it feels like a big fight. Showtime have done a lot of promotion, but what do you feel this fight has to do in sort of maybe pay-per-view numbers and attendance to really bring Wilder? Because obviously we know the Eddie Hearn and Joshua's team, that they're set on the split being, maybe 70-30 or 65-35, as it has been in the past with maybe like a Joseph Parker. But what do you feel can bring Deontay into maybe a 60-40 or even a 50-50?
Well, you never could be sure what the pay-per-view numbers are going to be for fighters who have never been pay-per-view fighters before. These two guys have no pay-per-view history. It's not like Manny Pacquiao or Floyd Mayweather, where we know what kind of numbers they regularly do. So it's going to be a very interesting thing. In terms of Wilder, I can only go by his last fight. Luis Ortiz was considered the toughest opponent he's ever faced. And the TV ratings and the live crowd at Barclays in Brooklyn were very high, highest they've ever been for Wilder. I think he drew 14,000 fans to fight a fighter who was actually considered a threat to him. Now he's fighting Fury, who can sell a fight with his mouth as well as anybody, and is a legitimate threat as a fighter. I think the numbers are going to be pretty decent. You know, the pay-per-view numbers will be good. I think if it does okay, it's just going to okay or better than okay. It's just going to force Joshua's hand even more. And Wilder will have a little bit more economic clout. Still, he'll be the other side of the matchup because Joshua is so hugely successful and popular. But it's going to be very interesting to see, should the fight get made, where it's going to get made, because the economic fact is that 20,000 fans at the T-Mobile Arena in Vegas can probably bring in as much money as 80,000 fans at Wembley. So where do you put the fight? Is Joshua willing to travel? He's never fought in America. It's pretty amazing that he's reached the level he has internationally without ever having fought in America. That tells you something about the globalization of boxing. But will he be willing to come to Vegas, or will he demand that Wilder comes to him? That to me is a very interesting part of the equation.
I think initially the offer is likely to be Wembley in the UK first, and then apparently a 2-fight thing, and then it will be back in America. So I guess it will be the UK first, I think.
Yeah, because he's already scheduled for April 13th.
Sense, yes.
He's already scheduled for April 13th. So Wilder has to concede from the beginning.
Right. And that's where, Joshua has the economic leverage. So if he's saying, I have a date, take it or leave it, then Wilder looks like the bad guy or the guy that doesn't want to fight if he says no. So it's just flexing. Joshua and Hearn are just flexing their muscles and saying, here's the date. The timing works because you're fighting Fury December 1. There's enough time in between. There's no reason for you not to take the fight. You just got to work out the economics of it. And that's what leverage is.
Now, Mr. Farhood, you been covering boxing for a long time. You seen the great heavyweights like Mike Tyson, Vander, Riddick Bowe, Lennox Lewis, and you see how all the attention that they got back then. Why in this day and age we have a American champion that's 40-0 with 39 KOs and really gives fight fans what they want to see, and that's somebody getting knocked out? Why is Wilder not as big as those guys was back then?
That's a great question, and a question I've pondered a lot. I remember when Wilder beat Stavern to win his first title, I thought he was going to become a superstar. He's a good-looking guy. He's got the gift of gab. He's got a great backstory, and as you said, he's not John Ruiz. He's a guy who knocks people out. So why did he not become a big superstar? I was shocked when he didn't. Part of the reason in the beginning that he didn't, I think, is that he wasn't viewed as the real champion. The boxing fans viewed Vladimir Klitschko at the time as the real champion. Now Klitschko's gone. You still have Joshua. So I think there's a part of the public that still doesn't view Wilder as the legitimate champion, even though you could argue Joshua can't be the legitimate champion until he beats Wilder. But it's a different time today. It's when you were an Olympian, as Wilder was years ago, you were famous before you ever turned pro. Sugar Ray Leonard was a superstar in 1976 before he had a single pro fight. Riddick Bowe and Lennox Lewis were known from the Olympics because the Olympics got a lot more, the boxing in the Olympics got a lot more exposure back then than it does now. Now you have to find it on your TV, and you're lucky if you find it. So I think it's just a different era today. There's a lot more competition for the entertainment dollar. It's harder than it's ever been for a boxer to transcend boxing. Floyd and Manny both did it, but it took them a long time. Manny was a multi-division champ before he became the Manny Pacquiao we know. Floyd Mayweather was a world champion at a couple of weights before he became a superstar. It didn't happen to him till he fought Oscar De La Hoya. So sometimes that one opponent who you really need can be the guy that makes you a superstar. And I think that's the case with Joshua and Wilder. I really do.
Steve, so again, the whole purpose for me is public perception, because we have the large consistency of the UK fans that believe that AJ wants this fight, while simultaneously saying that Wilder doesn't. How do you interpret the no invite for Wilder for the previous couple of AJ fights? At one point, Sky scheduled Wilder to commentate, and then Wilder turned around and didn't go because he was not going to be allowed in the ring with AJ. AJ made a message out publicly between him and his promoter that he would not be allowed. Now he's also made another announcement that he's not coming to the Wilder Fury fight. How do you interpret that?
Well, first of all, you have to keep in mind that Fury is promoted by Frank Warren. So you have instant, Frank Warren is obviously Eddie Hearn's biggest rival in England. So there's that issue. But I think what you have to keep in mind, and we've learned this over the years, when two fighters are dancing around each other and negotiating, anything that happens publicly, whether it's a quote, whether it's the promoters saying, we've offered him this and he didn't take it, that's all smokescreen. It's all nonsense. The real negotiations happen privately, and I'm guessing it's no different with this fight. So anything you hear, anything you see on social media, anything the fighters or the promoters say, it's just a smokescreen. It's just playing, it's playing the game, and it's trying to win over the public. But in terms of the real message and the real seriousness of whether a fight can be made or how it's being negotiated, that's always private. We don't know about that, and we won't know this fight is made until it is, and then it'll suddenly be announced, and we wouldn't have had a hint about it. So the rest of the stuff, I think, is just gamesmanship.
Do you feel like we had Deontay Wilder when he came over to Belfast and was going to be getting involved with the Fury fight to then announce it. He was on Good Morning TV over here, breakfast television, calling Joshua a coward, straight down the lens to the British public. And we've not really heard anything from Joshua. Do you just feel that's his character, just to let these guys blow off steam, say what they want, he brush it off, it's no problem? Or do you feel, he maybe should have come out and just, responded to that, in his own country, being told that he's a coward and things like that? Or do you just think he brushes this kind of thing off?
I think it's, again, an example of who has the leverage. Anthony Joshua knows that he can draw 80,000, 90,000 to Wembley anytime he fights, regardless of who he fights. And Wilder has been forced, because of that leverage, to be the louder guy, to be the guy maybe, woofing him a little bit, to be the guy on social media. I think that's just a matter of leverage. And I think Joshua, who's a very self-contained and very self-conscious, self-confident guy, I don't think he feels he needs to go there because he doesn't have to. I think it's that simple.
Hey, Steve, I want to change gears real quick. Now, you score for Showtime unofficially. How often do people hit you up on Twitter and be like, hey, man, what kind of scorecard was that? Or, hey, great job, or something like that?
I don't get too many good jobs. I get a lot of criticism. I think that's the nature of social media. I get hammered, and it doesn't matter. I mean, the irony of that is that the times I've gotten hammered the hardest have been the score I give that is the most close to the real scores. Not that the real scores are always right, but they're a pretty good indication. So I'm used to that. I take it. The irony of it is that obviously fans at home who might be tweeting about my scoring have their own agenda. They have their own favorites. And let's not forget, they're not at the fight. They're watching on TV. It's a whole different view. Sometimes it's a better view. Sometimes it's a worse view than I have. But, I don't take that seriously. I focus very hard on scoring each round. I got destroyed on Twitter for the Mayweather-Pacquiao scoring I did. I mean, Floyd won that fight easy. It wasn't controversial. And there were people, my nephew saw death threats to me on Twitter from Pacquiao fans. So you can't really take it seriously. And I don't.
Definitely, I don't. Yeah, I don't condone that at all. But what do you look for when you're scoring a round?
Well, I'll tell you the most important single attribute to scoring a fight for me. focus. You have to focus. You can't, even when I'm doing Showbox and I'm analyzing a fight, I score it. I'm not as good a scorer because I'm talking. I have a producer in my ear. I'm listening to what Barry Tompkins and Raul Marquez says. When I score for Showtime Championship Boxing, yes, I have a headset on, but I'm focusing 100% on what's going on in that ring. And it takes 3 minutes of serious focus to come up with a fair and balanced decision on who won that round. So that surprised me a little bit when I started doing it, which is about 7 years ago now. But that's the most important thing. What do you look for? Of course, you look for the most effective punching. That's by far the most important thing in boxing. But you have to stay focused because there are going to be close rounds, and there are going to be rounds that are 50-50 rounds. And these days nobody scores 10-10. So you have to have a reason to give a guy a close round. And the close rounds obviously are what make it difficult to score. And scoring is very subjective, and I'm the first one to say that. So just because someone has a different score than me doesn't mean anybody's right or wrong.
Well, Steve, I know you're pressed for time. So my last one, and you can go ahead. And once again, thank you for the time. Just using metaphors.
Of course.
Is AJ Earl Spence or is he Crawford? And yeah, is he AJ? Is he Earl Spence or is he Crawford?
Well,
or is he Mayweather? Is he Pacquiao? Is he Mayweather? Is he Pacquiao? Right? I mean, two sets of different negotiations there. I mean, with Mayweather, he had the $40 million flat fee. With Deontay, he has a $50 million not flat fee, right? Like he was given an upside. And obviously for these fans, because no one who's from the UK believes that 50 million was real, because Frank Warren came out on multiple, interviews saying that part of that money was going to be from BT. So the world felt like, how could that 50 million be real when, like you have already said on this interview, that's from a rival promoter? Did that make sense? Was that Frank just trying to be relevant? I mean, you work for Showtime. What's the in on that?
Well, I think to answer your initial question, I think that Joshua right now is more in the Mayweather camp. I mean, the Mayweather side of things. Crawford and Spence, both, I think they're in similar situations. Crawford being a pound for pound top 2 or 3 guy, Spence being top 5 for sure. I don't think either one, they're both aligned with who they're aligned with, but I don't think either one has that much of a advantage in terms of, leverage in terms of negotiations. But I think it's a little different with Joshua and Wilder. And that leverage for Joshua some of it could slip away if Wilder is impressive against Fury. So I think, Mayweather, people criticize Mayweather. They criticize Roy Jones. They criticize Sugar Ray Leonard going back. When you're number one, you fight who you want, when you want, at what weight you want, and for the money you want. And anybody who has that position would be a fool not to take advantage of it. The downside is that the public sometimes and the press sometimes criticizes you for it. Who did you ever fight? You're nothing but a media creation. All that stuff. That's all nonsense. This is a business, and you take the fights you can, and if you can control things, you do it. And if Joshua can control things, he'd be a fool not to do it.
I'm infamous for saying that's my last. Here's the real last one. DAZN Showtime, would they ever co-promote? And because, like, how does the fight really happen with Wilder and AJ now that AJ has stock in DAZN? I mean, I've interviewed Steven Espinoza on camera where he says there's no way Showtime's going to co-promote with an application. Does all this change now because of the magnitude of this fight?
Well, that's probably a better question for Eddie Hearn and Steven Espinoza. I think that, they work for companies that obviously worry about PR and image as well. And they don't want to be the ones to block the fight. Yet at the same time, business is business. Showtime has obviously built Wilder into whatever you think he is at this point, pretty dominant and established heavyweight champion. So, that's just another factor now that the zone exists. That's just another factor that has to be worked out. And, where it ends up, we'll see. But again, that those two guys will be obviously a major part of the negotiation and the consideration in whether the fight can be made or not. How's that for a non-answer?
I mean, since you said the word non-answer, did you really answer the BT Sports question about the 50 mil? I don't think we got any clarity on that. Would Showtime
Was it 50 or 15 million?
I mean, according to Frank,
the initial offer.
According to
Frank Warren, okay,
yeah,
because the initial offer from Eddie Hearn, I believe, was 15 million.
Yeah, no, that's correct. That's correct. That is correct. But we're talking about
that was a joke.
We're talking about the actual $50 million offer that Deontay Wilder didn't make to AJ, and instead, I guess, it was a reaction to AJ saying, give me 50, I'll take the fight. So Deontay, as story goes, called his peoples. They made him a $50 million offer. But later in the media, Frank Warren comes out in an interview and says, look, I know the money was real because BT was putting up some of that money.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think anything Frank Warren says about negotiations, you have to take with a grain of salt, because he's obviously, he does not. He's a fighter. And again, I go back to what I said before. Anything that's said publicly, you have to almost wink at it and say, okay, but what's really going on? Because any real negotiation, any real offer, any serious offer where they think they can make the fight is going to be done privately. And I know that's not necessarily a very pleasing answer, but I think it's reality.
Well, I mean, you probably pleased a lot of UK folks. They're gonna love to hear you say that Wilder's offer is less legitimate because he made it in the public. But Farhood, thank you so much for your time. I know we kind of went over. Give your social media for any crazy boxing fan not smart enough to be following you, and please let us know. I guess your next show, because I know you're always doing something live in New York. You stay so busy, and once again, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. You can follow me at Steve Farhood on Twitter, and look forward to being on with you guys again. Thanks so much for having me on. All
right. Well, thanks. There you have it, guys. Steve Farhood, Showtime analyst and commentator, the official scorecard. I mean, you see him in Roseland Ballroom. You see him in BB King's. I mean, he's still doing Lou DiBella shows. He's really grassroots, man. And it was just a treat to have him on. If you enjoyed the interview, hit that thumbs up button. Share this show with a boxing fan. Let them know we were talking some good boxing. And look, we got a little bit of insight. I probably didn't get all the answers I wanted. Maybe Rob comes away as a bit of a victor here because of that last statement there, I think, because it kind of sounds like he said, hey, if you're talking about it in the media, we can't believe it. So, Crawford and Wilder, I guess, they're faking it.
I mean, I don't know. He sort of said, take what Frank Warren says with a pinch of salt. So is the BT thing really true? I don't know. But yeah, good interview. I enjoyed having him on. Sort of got some expert eye on the topic in hand. But yeah, I think he's sort of along the opinion that that he feels that Joshua is the A side. Going into negotiations, and that maybe he would be the better side of the split. But we just got to hope that December 2nd, all the figures are in or whatever, and we find out that it done 500,000 or it done 1 million or whatever, and we can just get the ball rolling. Because I think, as he said, outside of Joshua and Wilder, what else really is there for heavyweight boxing fans to get excited about, to see either Wilder fighting whoever and Joshua fighting whoever? If it's not against each other, then we're not going to be so excited.
I don't know, man. I think that the UK sheep, they'll get excited about Usyk. I mean, I have an interview that we didn't get to play yet. I'm sure, us hardcore boxing fans, we've already listened to it. But like almost anything, I find incriminating things in it, right? So let's just hear it together. Let's just check it out.
On Deontay Wilder, nothing's changed, and he can troll us on Instagram, but Anthony's always said, I want the Wilder fight, and we want that fight on April 13th. That is the absolute ideal fight for us. It's the undisputed fight, providing he wins on December 1. And if he does, we'll move as quickly as we can to try and get that fight over the line. There's the Dillian White fight, which we may be in a position where we have a deal locked up for White.
I just want to stop it right there. How do you say you want the Deontay Wilder fight, but then turn around and say you have a deal with Dillian White locked up? Like, the word want to me and locked up are really on different sides of the spectrum. Let me just show you how differently they are, right? I don't know. I want a fucking Tesla. You know? If I came on this show and said, Rob, I locked in a Tesla, you know you're going to be seeing me drive a fucking Tesla, okay?
Yeah.
Two different words.
Yeah, but also if I said I want a Tesla, and then I said, and if not, I'd like to lock, we can lock in the Tesla. I think if you play it back, he didn't actually say we've got a Dillian White offer thing locked in. He's saying,
I'm pretty sure that's what he said. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. I mean, if you run, I mean, we can
to fight Joshua should he win. Ultimately, we want Deontay Wilder. Nothing's changed, and he can troll us on Instagram. But Anthony's always said, I want the Wilder fight, and we want that fight on April 13th. That is the absolute ideal fight for us. It's the undisputed fight, providing he wins on December 1. And if he does, we'll move as quickly as we can to try and get that fight over the line. There's the Dillian White fight, which we may be in a position where we have a deal locked up.
He didn't say if, he said there's the Dillian White fight where we might be in a position to get that deal locked in.
Yeah, we may be in a position to get that locked in. Not it is.
But anyway, should we keep playing it?
No, because I clearly heard him say we may be in a position to get that locked in, not it is locked in. So, but as a good promoter, there's options, plan A, plan B, plan C, whatever, it's just how it works.
I just think there's so many things that are acceptable on that side that, again, I mean, you got the venue locked in. You already put out an excuse back in October about needing to know the first week of December because of training camp for the April fight. So, it's going to be like, look, I want to negotiate with Wilder. It's December 2nd. Oh, Dillian White won on December 23rd. Boom. Like, negotiations are over because AJ wants to start the beginning of the year after the Christmas. He wants to go right into training. He doesn't want to be dealing with negotiations. He just wants to concentrate on training. Like, we've heard this sing and dance before, in my opinion. It's just really hilarious that other people are not like catching on to that tune. It's just like right there. You can just hear it every time. It's like, I hear the snap. I hear it. It's like right there. It's those good old boxing blues. You know what I mean, Rob? You hear it? It's like, we ain't never gonna get it. Just like Crawford and Spence. We ain't gonna get it. I mean, look, I was on vacation and I fucking heard that the pound for pound king supposed to be fighting someone who he feels he could beat leftovers. Yeah. He's talking about fighting somebody who Keith beat on his first hometown fight. I mean,
my nigga, though, are you trying to get in the camp?
Cut off, King.
Are we trying to get in the camp or are we not?
Oh, so we got
what are you doing?
Got a bootleg?
Huh?
Got a bootleg?
No. We ain't bootlegging nothing. I mean, we ain't doing that. I'm just saying. Collazo, yes, he's an old Keith opponent, but at the same time, he can't get the fight that he wants.
Oh,
I mean, at the end of the day, Al Heyman will let certain fighters come over and play the John Molinas of the world, the fucking Luis Collazos of the world.
You think it's Al, or you think they just ain't offering that right check?
What you mean? It's gonna be pay-per-view.
Let me tell you, there's an app on the App Store. It's called Turo, right?
All right,
you and I, we could go to any state and we could rent any car on Turo.
Yep.
You could set a price, homeboy. You could get yourself a motherfucking Earl Spence V8. Okay?
It's going to be on pay-per-view, though, bro.
Leather guts. Red leather guts.
Same thing going on with this Wilder and Joshua shit. It's the same thing going on with this fucking Crawford and Spence shit.
Cut off King, or you could get yourself a motherfucking Toyota Corolla.
Yeah, I've been feeling it. You can't
wait. You know what I'm saying?
Wait to get back and talk about this shit, boy.
Just saying.
This ain't even fucking David Crawford show. I thought this was goddamn me AJ in the.
That's why Rob brought up oh, do you feel that Wilder will be worth more of a percentage because previous opponents have gotten to 35 to 33? Listen, dog, all this shit is relevant. It's all relevant.
Yeah, Mike, don't get the V8 Errol Spence. It doesn't move very well.
Nobody even know what that say. Loma coming?
Yeah, man, that shit hard, bro. I don't know. Shout out to fucking Top Rank fucking social media shit, bro. That shit.
What?
Whoever made that one.
Loma's coming for who?
No. It's the fucking The Wire, the greatest show that ever came on. Omar coming. Like anytime Omar was coming, motherfuckers ran in the house, locked the doors and everything.
How HBO come for their ass? After Top Rank talking all that shit about HBO, they gonna steal that shit from The Wire. That's an HBO product. Come for their ass. Come for their ass. Bob is a lawyer though, so I know he got that shit back.
Yeah, wait a minute. It's fucking Instagram.
Like, nah, B. You can't be out here talking about HBO and how they a shit company and then steal their artwork.
They paying homage. They put the face on fucking the
bruh. Listen, copyright is real. Yo. While I was on vacation, YouTube came out with some new shit, bro. They sent me like it's a whole new button on the back end now. There was like 100 videos that other people stole them on. It's like I'm telling you, copyright is real. Bottom line, fix your fucking echo, Mike. Damn, going for a week, my man still sounding like he fucking, I don't know, beatboxing in the hood and shit. Let's go out to some calls, man. I see Dominic in Seattle out there.
Echo still there?
I don't even know, bro. You know, I'm gonna just talk to Robbie right now. Robbie, what's going on, bro? I miss you, man.
Yeah, I miss you too, man. I mean, you don't have to say it twice, though, Nez. I don't know why you're saying things twice.
So the echo is definitely still there. Mike didn't get that inside joke.
Mike, you been getting.
Mike needs to just always mute. Like he ain't talking mute. Talking unmute. I mean, it's simple.
Although, you know, Mike's been holding it down while you've been away, and there's plenty of interviews.
I know, man. I uploaded them all today. So definitely head on over to the Mike Check Hook series. I see people. Yo, you better start replying to the public too. You acting all bougie and shit. Mike think he too good for y'all. So I'll read comments and all this shit.
Bro, I be trying to get these fucking interviews and hopefully
bro,
I got an interview with fucking. I'm crossing my fucking fingers, but Andrew Schultz. He's a fucking actor. He's a comedian. He's a podcaster. He's one half of the Brilliant Idiots, a podcast with Charlamagne the God. So if I can get this interview, it would be great.
Who the fuck is that guy?
But no. Peach out. He loves boxing, and his pops. His pops
interviewed
Muhammad. No.
I read your notes, dog. That is interesting. I'm just fucking with you. The issue is I can't really talk without hearing the echo. But I see you muted yourself and now it's gone. You see what I'm saying? I'm telling you, audio snob, B. I know when the echo is there. What up, Rob?
But yeah, check them out. Mike's done what we got lately. Michaela Mayer, Clarissa Shields.
Oh, that Shields one was so good. And let me tell you, Mike, you don't think anyway, off-air conversation.
Teofimo Lopez.
But I was just gonna say that Clarissa was like one of the best. I don't know. I guess it's her too, right? Like she's very outgoing, so that made it very interesting.
Clarissa's always a great interview for anybody.
Don't get me wrong. I like the Tundi one too. But you know, I mean, they're in that position too. You know, who are they? You know, are they Crawford? Are they Earl? Are they AJ? It's like timing. You know, but I get it. You did one with Virgil too. Shout out Virgil Hunter. A lot of new stuff. We got Luis Ortiz, manager. New interview with Luis Ortiz, man. Talking the truth about that Dillian White versus Luis Ortiz and that DAZN deal. Let's throw that out there. I mean, I know I like to stay topical, right? But we're just gonna fucking give them a little preview of what a Thursday or a Sunday is like. Because listen, in that interview, he said that Eddie didn't even come to them with a 3-fight, $10 million deal. That he got to come better than that because they getting that on Showtime and that Showtime is treating them well.
He ain't getting that shit.
All right.
He ain't getting 10 mil. Come on.
No,
he said Wilder.
He ain't say 10 mil. He said basically like it's basically like 3 mil a fight. Because a 3-fight deal for 10 mil. So that's a little more than 3 mil.
So back end, he got 2.5 mil against Wilder. Well, didn't he get like 500,000?
I know. On paper, it did say 500K.
Fuck that. He ain't getting what 2.5 back. Why didn't you? Oh, anyway, yeah.
I mean, listen, I'm gonna go with your narrative though, because you gotta inflate. So like, if Eddie is gonna make an offer, you want to go up so that he kind of has a feel lukewarm for what you want, right? I don't know. And then, so that he doesn't start too low, right? Because I mean, if you don't say 10 for 3 fights and Eddie throws you 5 for 2, I mean, you know what I mean? Or rather 5 for 3 fights, and you're like, whoa.
That's like a fucking Crawford deal. And he's on
think about it though. No. You see, the thing is that, Rob, you're thinking what Luis Ortiz is worth on Showtime, right? And we can't always just be like, oh, you're UK, I'm US, right? Let's think outside the box. Jesse Vargas isn't Luis Ortiz, doesn't have the drawing power of Luis Ortiz, and he's just not a fucking heavyweight. And he made 1.7. So if you're really giving Jesse 1.7 on paper, fuck, you should be able to give Luis Ortiz 3 million on paper, because Jesse is less than half. And I don't mean that in any form of disrespect, but I'm just saying, if you're thinking business, right? Because I mean, the sheep always talk business first. So if we're thinking business, what's more valuable to the zone? Jesse Vargas at $1.7 million or a heavyweight, which the zone already dominates that division at one point? She just scared the shit out of me. I'm like, what the fuck? Fuck.
You're right.
Yeah,
no, you're right.
She distracted the shit out. It was like a ghost walked through the studio. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
No, you're right. I mean,
what's more valuable to the company, right? A $3 million heavyweight or a $1.7 million? Fuck. Again, no disrespect.
Yeah.
E-tier heavy welterweight. Excuse me.
Yeah. I mean, I know.
And time out. Just to give you more to build on this conversation. Remember, Eddie offered Mikey and Earl $8 million for one fight, 4 each, right? No, excuse me. He said 8 each. So this again is you gotta, like, certain people just deserve more.
No, I get you, but I don't know. I think, like you say, maybe he said 10. That's a number that they floated out there, and you know, Eddie, if you really want it, bring that 10 million free fights. But I don't know. Again, outside of Wilder, Joshua, I know Miller's maybe making some noise, but you know, we already know that the offer was 3 fights without Dillian White in it. So, what sort of fights was Ortiz going to get over on DAZN? I don't know. Maybe Joshua at the end of it, but who knows? And it was pretty clear they want the biggest fights, the biggest money they can get. Didn't he say maybe a couple of years left, 7 fights left for 6 or 7 fights left for Ortiz? I think on your interview. So yeah, I just felt when he said 10, I was like, well, get out of here. He got like 500,000 for Wilder, but obviously there's the back end, as it's always put across, the back end money. But what, 2.5 million in the back end, but you're only getting 500,000 for your purse. Who knows? But I don't think he was maybe going to get Joshua anyway, or whatever. So maybe it's better he does stay at Showtime, as far as he's concerned anyway, his career. Mike's just got Chameleon Air on his headphones.
I think he's still trying to figure it out.
I'm just trying to figure out what my shit is fucking echoing. Is my shit still echoing?
Not now.
Oh, well, shit, we good then. God damn.
What did you do? Did you?
Look, my man said keep Mike on mute, man.
Yeah, I think that shit, and that shit pissed me off when I read it. You know what I'm like, fuck this guy. I ain't gonna give him no shine though, but you gave him shine anyway. But do we got any callers, man? We need to get the people. I miss the people, man. Let's do it. If you're listening right now, we got a lot of shit going on for fucking Cyber Monday. Ness, tell them about it.
On Monday?
I mean, you put the goddamn code in there. I try to set you up. Shit.
Yo, dog, you gotta repost that shit. I put that at 6 in the morning.
That's fucking lost, man.
12 hours ago, bro. How the fuck?
But it's only thing you gotta do is go to the attachments.
You gotta at least prepare me. Bro. I got my hands on 2 different mouses about to do.
That shit's in the fucking vortex of the fucking pre-pro chat. That's lost. Deep
I
space.
go get it, man. You guys keep talking. Fuck
It's
it.
in deep space, back end of the fucking pre-pro chat. That shit's crazy.
Anyways, let's get out to the sponsors and get to these phone calls.
These calls are brought to you by El Camino Electrical Services, experts in electric vehicle charging stations. For consultations and turnkey installation, visit us at elcaminoelectricalservices.com.
All right, Dominic in Seattle. Talk to me.
Yo, what's good? What's good?
What up?
That was a crazy interview you guys had, and that was pretty dope. I think with all the Anthony Joshua stuff going on, I think he's just trying to ride the train, because Deontay Wilder's looking real good out here, and this fight's going to be real big. And really, that's all I got to say.
Well, thanks for calling in.
Yeah, well, thanks, bro.
About our store, we have 15% off everything, and it's running through November 23rd through the 25th, and the coupon code is Cyber18. Also, we have a 15% off and free shipping that's running through the November 26th, and that code is Cyber Sale, SALE. Not like you selling a boat, but like you selling something. You feel me?
We feel you. Joshua, New Orleans.
Hello?
Hello.
Y'all hear me?
Yep.
Sure do.
All right. My first question go out to Rob. Will he ever admit his bias for Anthony Joshua on the show? Or you gonna just keep acting like he ain't got no bias?
I'm not acting like I got bias. Of course I'm biased. He's my hometown boy, he's my countryman. Just like you guys riding with Wilder.
Question is, no, that's not why I'm riding with Wilder. I can tell you why I'm riding with Wilder after I finish my second question. But you ever admit the fact that your bias corrupts your thinking in the Wilder and Eddie Hearn's situation?
I don't know. I see it as I see it. Maybe the profit.
I hear you get on the show a lot, and you and it's like every time something's presented, you spin it around and try to make it fit the best way AJ could be seen in a situation. It's like I hear you do that a lot on the show.
I hear a lot of people do the same thing, but for Deontay Wilder.
All right, well, let me tell you why I started liking Deontay Wilder over AJ. I was an AJ fan, just like you heard millions of times and stuff. Blah, 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 whoop-de-doo. Then when I started really realizing he was coming up, and I said, well, damn, dude might look nice against Deontay Wilder. Like I said on the show before, I thought Deontay Wilder was all hype until I realized that power was something special. Then I said, hey, AJ and Wilder should fight. Let's see them two fight. Then when I realized what his promoter was doing and what AJ was doing, I changed my mind. I said, well, damn, AJ looked like he's scared to fight Wilder. So then that's how I became the Deontay Wilder fanboy. I'm sure a bunch of fans, like pure boxing fans, that's what they do. That's what I did, but that's why I have a distaste for AJ. My next question is for Ness. What's your problem with Crawford and criticizing who he's fighting when none of the top guys want to fight him? I haven't heard nobody call Crawford names.
Man, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about because let me tell you something.
Earlier.
Let me tell you something. If you could make a fight for Lomachenko in his second career fight to be a pro fight, and somewhere in his fifth fight is gonna be Gary, and then somewhere else he gonna fight Linares, man, you could do the same shit for Crawford. Pay like you weigh.
We all know who the top guys is at welterweight right now, and all them guys so happen to be on the PBC. But you don't hear now.
So let me ask you one question. Let me ask you one question, brother. Let me ask you one question. Let me ask you one question.
How you gonna make believe and act like somebody could fight him if they don't want to fight him?
Bruh,
you let his ass know, homie.
What he need to do is educate himself. There's plenty of Nesta Gibbs and Ken Porter interviews where he goes into great detail of how they are their own boss. He's discussed on camera how he is open to taking phone calls from Eddie and DAZN, how he could take a fight with Top Rank. So I don't want to hear none of that shit. You telling me, and I'm not even going to ask you because, again, you're biased. Your AJ is Crawford. So I'm going to ask Rob, do you believe that Sean Showtime Porter, the WBC champion, would turn down a pay-per-view fight with Terrence Crawford next?
No.
All right. So why the fuck isn't Bob offering it?
Who says he's not?
Because we all know we would pay for. What you mean? Who says he's not? Stop this dumb shit.
If you're Al Heyman,
listen to me. You out here doing fucking interviews now. You should know better than say who says he's not. You talking to the inner circle, man. If you ain't hearing it, it's because it ain't fucking happening. Do we need to give you Ken Porter's number? Do you need to ask him your fucking self?
I'm not saying that, but
you obviously want to say that. I'm gonna make sure you interview him. You gonna interview him next. Don't worry.
I will. Al Heyman. It makes sense for Al Heyman to keep these fighters fighting each other until one round.
Brother. You gonna tell me it don't make sense for Al Heyman to keep Daniel Jacobs on Showtime because he know the young Lions is coming and he can make a better name off of the young up-and-coming Charlos versus Daniel Jacobs? Let me finish so you can be educated. But no, he gave Daniel the opportunity to go where there was bigger money. He let Daniel go to a 6-fight deal. He let Daniel go to a fucking pay-per-view with a dangerous fighter on another network. Stop your fucking block mentality.
How am I blocking when Danny Jacobs don't? Danny Jacobs don't have the fucking Al Heyman don't have the fucking talent at 160 that he has at 147. He doesn't have Canelo. He doesn't have.
Brother, how about this analogy? In terms of stars in the welterweight division, and equivalent to 60 and Al Heyman stable, who's more liable to be let go? You was just saying it. Oh, Al let certain fighters go fight fight Crawford team. You telling me Sean Porter ain't the type of fighter Al is sent over there, especially if it was a fucking paper? You know what? That's gonna be my next question to every person I interview now. Cause you bugging. I can't believe you can never see the light.
I'm not bugging. You bugging. You only seeing one fucking light. You ain't seeing everything else fucking around you.
Bro, I talked to Ken Porter. Just like he said he ain't never been offered a motherfucking pay-per-view versus Earl Spence. And when I ask everybody else, they concur that, right? Because Ken ain't got no fucking reason to lie. Them boys will fight whoever. They've proven that. Anyone that's fucking doubting that, you're not a real boxing fan. Check his resume, and it doesn't have to be literal. It doesn't have to be about fighters he's fought. Check his resume about his heart. He's got in there with everybody, and he's called out everybody, and everybody's called down. He's made the fight or attempted to fight. He's jumping in rings. He's putting on outfits. He's doing WWE, the shit, everything we ask our fighters to do, he did. Now you're going to question whether he would fight Crawford on a pay-per-view. No, tell Bob, which we're going to interview him next. Don't you worry about it. We're going to set that up. But remember, he's West Coast. There's going to be a late interview. We're going to get Bob live and see why the fuck he ain't offering Sean no pay-per-view fight. He said ESPN was going to do pay-per-view. What is he waiting for? You just making excuses, bruh. You making excuses. Because I guarantee you, when the time comes, when Earl do what he say he did, they're going to offer Crawford a fight. Because guess who's doing pay-per-view? Last I checked, Broner got a pay-per-view. Earl got a pay-per-view. And last I checked, Showtime has been doing bigger numbers on pay-per-view than any other network in the last 5 years. So ESPN hasn't been talking pay-per-view because they ain't ready to do it. They might have a pay-per-view worthy fighter, but they ain't throwing no bait around. AJ doing a pay-per-view with every fucking body. He ain't stopped. You guys are bugging, man. This guy right here.
Fucking Crawford protectors.
I'm telling you, he is a Crawford protector, B. He is. It's crazy. You heard the first thing. Oh, you don't want to get in the camp. Shut up, Ness. You don't want to get in the camp. Like, oh, now we got to be kissing. Boo.
I wasn't saying it like that. I'm just saying
you saying it like that.
You're bashing a opponent that he trying to fight. He trying to get other fights, but
let me pull up Keith Thurman's resume so I can tell this guy right here when Keith fought fucking. Let me pull up Keith so I can tell you when Keith fought your boy Collazo, and then I'm gonna tell you when Amir Khan fought him. Like, I mean, this is just listen. It's time we let go. It's the same thing that I did with AJ. Like, I gave him a shot. It's like, yo, he won his title versus Martin, and he went on to fight dudes and do his thing. But then it was a time when it's like, yo, bro, you gotta answer this call. I just watched Creed. Anybody that watched Creed know that fucking Adonis Creed is not AJ, because he heard the fucking call. He heard the call. Ain't no champion trying to be told he ain't a fucking champion. Why you think Wilder out here desperately trying to prove that he's the baddest on the planet? Because that shit eats at you. But AJ don't care when you got that much money. Nigga, you in vacation in Dubai. That you know your money long. The exchange rate is up. It ain't like DR where we getting a whole bunch of dollars for no. No. AJ got that long money, so he don't care. But eventually it's gonna start to bother. It is. It's gonna start. You can't run from that. Listen, you can't run from those comments. He gonna have to turn everything off. Eventually it's gonna stop. Floyd had to do it himself. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what spectrum you was on a Mayweather-Pacquiao. They both was equally at fault, and they eventually had to do it. I just hope it don't take 7 years. Damn. That's a long time, man. That is a long time.
It is on air. Fucking hell.
Fuck, bro. I mean, because look, going back again to timeline, 2016, here we are 2 years later, and it really feels like, obviously, I'm still going with Dillian White. Unless Chisora, his new connection with Hay, and he, because Hay's always been a fit dude. Maybe he takes Chisora to Miami here in the United States, gets him in great shape, and this is Chisora's best conditioning ever. I still have White winning and White moving forward on that fight on the 14th because timing just makes more sense. Wilder's coming off his first pay-per-view, let's see the success of that and let him go into the Ortiz rematch. Keep building.
Not have a mandatory again?
Dude, I think there's still time when you're thinking of comparisons, right? Look at Canelo, Triple G. That happened right around 1.5 to 2 year mark, right? But that was a little different, I think. It was a lot less competition. Triple G was feasting on, I mean, at least AJ's feasting on top level heavyweights. You know what I'm saying? So it was a little different. There was the demand. It's like, nah, this guy. I mean, I don't even know why they pushed that fight, to be honest. Poor Canelo was at a weight under, and we forced him to move up to fight Triple G. That's the bullshit. But whatever, we got callers. Audacity, California, what up?
Call it in, the last caller.
What up, Cali?
Hey, what's good with you guys, man? What's going on? I just wanted to say that I'm really going to just talk about the fact that you guys have been putting in work with these interviews and stuff. I love some of these interviews. What's the name of Errol Spence trainer?
Derek
James.
Okay, that's what I thought. Derek James. His was all right. I did like the fact that he said something about he would have the first Nas album and the Love Supreme. That made me like him a little more. And yo, Ness, when you played that Keith Thurman soundbite on him, I started cracking up. I thought it was hilarious. I was like, Ness is crazy. But anyway, yeah, I really like the interview you did with Shakur Stevenson. That's from Mike. He was like, I don't know if he was like in his car or something, but that was really cool, man. Gave me something to do. And when you were Ness, when you guys were in Wilder's camp, you did an interview with his coach, his trainer, and that thing was dope. Like, it was really cool because it just seemed like, you know, it ain't like no ESPN or something where it's like it has to be all proper and scripted. And he was just giving his real thoughts and everything. And he said some cool things about how like he was having the guys doing sprints, playing football and stuff. And that type of things is really cool. So I wanted to give you guys props on that. And yeah, Mike, you've been putting in that work. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to say good job on that stuff, man. But and Rob, the guy called in and said that like you're biased, and every time you guys talk about these negotiations and all that. I mean, yeah, I guess you sound a little biased, but you were like, yeah, I am biased. But I just wanted to disagree and say that you sound pretty logical when it comes to all of the all this back and forth stuff that goes on, like as far as the business side.
Yeah.
But what was that? I think I'll say one more thing. Oh yeah, Ness, and that guy that called in and said something about people don't want to fight Crawford. That was kind of a good point, but your rebuttal, man, that thing was like a nice counter to the face. Because back in the day, somebody was hating on Bob Arum, and I said, yeah, well, you know, you can say that about him, but I look at him as a guy that can get things done because look at what he did for Lomachenko. And so that was just like a bomb-ass, you know, rebuttal. So you dudes got to come correct when they come on this show because you guys don't play sometimes, you know?
Great call.
I love the show, man. You know, and I'm a long time listener. Just been calling just recently, but I've been listening to you guys for years. You know, so yeah, this is the spot. This is the show. Peace out.
Audacity, man. Well, thank you for calling in, and thank you for the kind words, brother. Truly is inspirational and motivational because you know, it keeps us going. And I'm gonna be honest, Mike has lit a fire. Like, I'm doing more interviews because he's out here trying to shine and shit. And I'm so competitive. It's like I'm seeing all these comments like, oh, good job, Mike. Oh, I love your new shit. That's how I'm reading them, Mike. I'm sorry. And there's no hate to you. It's just that's how I'm competitive. That's what makes me get up in the morning. Like, that's how I motivate myself. It's self-motivation. So I'm reading your comments like, oh, Mike, great interview. Oh, this is the best series. I'm like, what? Nah, let me schedule some Ronnie. Let me get some Farhood because yo, you bringing some heat. But I love it.
What about the comments where it's like, oh, Mike, you're such a Crawford dick rider. Oh, Mike, stop riding Crawford so hard.
It's just like once you get like a little taste of it, you just want to keep doing more and more. And like I enjoy the stories that I get
out of them.
That's why my shit don't be 15, 20. I can't do 15-minute interviews. It's tough.
I hear you, bro.
30 minutes.
But I like what Audacity said because you were in the room when we interviewed Jay. He's talking about that moment when he was like, you know, sometimes you can't get these fighters to run. And what I did was grab a football and do long passes. And I think that was like a super duper, like, what do we call those gems, right? In the interview, like that if you don't normally watch an interview from the beginning to the end, you miss that. But if you're a trainer, that was a jewel for you. That was a jewel because guess what? I'm sure every trainer has a good fighter that's a bit lazy, and that's just a way to make, you know, a tough training session a bit more motivational for that guy. But yeah, man, that was pretty cool. But Rob, you got anything there before I go to the next caller?
No, crack on. Let's go.
All right, Shaman says, all right. We're gonna go out to the UK. Idris, talk to us.
Yo, Wagwan, man. You know what I'm saying? Listen, Luis Ortiz, the worst resume I've ever seen in my life. Okay, the guy's never beaten a single undefeated fighter. No, all the hype, no, all this. The guy needs to take what
Idris, you're breaking up.
Just go finally fucking get beaten up.
Idris, you're breaking up big time. You're breaking up big time, homie.
What now? Can you hear me?
Try it again. Fuck it. We'll go with it. We'll see. Go ahead.
Listen, what I'm saying is Luis Ortiz is the worst resume I've ever seen heavyweight. The guy's not beating a single fucking guy. You know,
so Idris, I don't know. It sounds like you're saying that he's got the worst resume ever. He hasn't beaten a single fighter. So riddle me this. Why won't guys fight him? Or actually, just let's be specific. Why won't, man, you have a poor connection. I mean, Skype is actually telling me that, so I'm sorry. Hang up, call back.
Real quick. We got some super chats. First one is from Jack is the Truth. Somebody tell Ness that Creed is just pretend. Also, we got one from Blue Blood Sports TV. Salute to the bro Ness and the TBV panel. We got one from
who from Blue Blood?
Yeah, Blue Blood. And we got one, I can't say this guy's name, but it's SST Cup. Oh, okay, I can't say his name. SST Cup from New Zealand. Shout out him. They the Gray Faye, man, these guys with these fucking names, bro. Look here. I keep telling people on IG Live, you can't fucking have all these fucking syllables in your name and expect me to fucking get it right. I'm sorry. But anyway, the guy, the Gray Fish, or whatever fuck his name is, I fucks with the TBV. I may not agree with hardly anything Ness says, but it's good entertainment. Mike has the sickest intro and the dopest and best interviews. Damn, shut up, dude.
See what I'm saying, Rob? Now I gotta step it up. Dopest and best. What the fuck? What do you, dopest mean like? Yo, dopest mean like all, like it's better than all of them. Like, yo,
it was a typo. He meant dopiest.
I'm about to have to like hit the bag and shit right now.
That is the truth. Caller is auditioning for a spanner in the chat.
Whatever that means.
I don't know.
There's about 300 moderators in that chat right now.
And it might be some more.
And none of them moderate. You know what I'm saying? Like honestly, like I said in the chat, I don't do no blocking. But some of these grown ass men need some timing out, and it's like everybody got a Doomy got a wrench. You have a wrench.
Yeah,
Mike has a wrench. Nobody fucking tightens anything up in that chat. That's for sure.
Doomy ain't on no show working.
No, and that's the point. He's never on the show, but he's always in the chat. You would figure he would at least keep it clean, but he ain't doing that. Yeah. Let's go out to Joel on Skype. Joel.
Yeah, what up, TVV?
That was my fake version of Noel. Go ahead, brother. You're live.
Yeah, what up, TVV?
Let's go.
What up, Big Dog? What up, Big Dog? How you doing?
I'm good, man.
So what are you gonna say?
I mean, do you want to have like a conversation or something?
No. Yeah, but I'm listening. Okay. Seriously, Ness is getting under my nerves.
Did he just burn himself over here?
But Ness always getting under my nerves. Always. Okay, anyway. It's 3 p.m., 3 a.m. here in Dubai. So let me just slide a little bit. Damage controls or whatever, I don't care. Let's just make the fight. He's doing damage control. He's doing this and this. I don't care. Let's just make the fight. Let me see AJ knocking out Wilder. That's it.
Yeah, tell him. Find his pen. Find your pen, Wilder. Tell him.
I don't care. AJ doesn't reply when Wilder say this and Wilder. He doesn't have to. There is nowhere writing that he has to reply to this and this and this. The great reply he has to say is inside the ring. That's where he has to reply. You guys are always. I'm like.
Let me ask you something.
Why
Joel? Does AJ need Wilder?
I'm gonna reply straight away. He needs Wilder to become undisputed. That's
okay.
It.
So then, why not just make the fight? Why are you going into a negotiation? Hold on. Because the last time I checked, Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson didn't have the venue booked and set before they started negotiating with each other. I don't think Mayweather had the MGM and said, Pacquiao, hey, if you want to fight, it's got to be in this hotel and casino. So why does AJ continuously get this pass amongst you guys to do negotiations completely untraditional? And I will remind you, the last untraditional form of negotiation was a flat fee in a super fight. Now, this untraditional form of negotiation is a set venue. as if the other party means nothing. Like, it's just logic, Joel. You have to stop being brainwashed. I don't know what it is that the UK has in the water, but I know exactly what you all sound like.
Have you finished, Ness? Have you finished?
It's totally your turn.
First of all, I'm not from the UK. I'm from Dubai.
You're still a sheep.
Okay.
Where's
There's
AJ?
no problem,
Where's
though.
AJ
That's
vacation
only
every
slight-
time? Where's
that's
AJ
only
vacation
slight
on every
underneath.
time? Oh, it's a wonder you're
Only
from
slide,
Dubai and you
'cause
like him.
I don't give a damn. It's just sliding. What you say, just sliding. But there is one thing though. Don't act like you just don't have the interview with the guys who says that if you have leverage and then you don't use it, you are stupid. Everybody does that. He has leverage. He knows he has leverage. Why do he not use it? He can use it whatever he wants. He has leverage. Canelo does that.
But I thought you came on this
Mayweather did
show.
that.
I thought you came on this show and say, Ness, I just want the fight. So you need to tell your champion, stop
Yeah, I
using
want
his
the fight,
leverage.
but
Tell
I'm
your
not
champion, stop
stupid to
using
know
his
that there is
leverage
business in
and just
everything.
make the
Ness,
fight.
hold on. I want the fight, but I'm not stupid and then don't know that there is business in everything. I know there is business, and then I would be stupid to think that he has just to make the fight. Do you or do you not want the fight? Regardless of where the fight is or where is it now, the fight would happen. And then AJ is the one who has the more leverage. He is the one who dictated the whereabout of the fight.
Let me
And
ask you a
then,
question.
didn't you guys say
let me
that
ask you a question.
he has to give a two-way match? He gives two-way. One in the UK
buddy,
and the second one in the US.
Buddy,
What's the
let
problem?
me ask you a question here. Who's got the leverage? Mikey?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mikey or Earl? Who's got the leverage?
Actually,
yeah,
Earl has the leverage.
Really?
Yeah.
So Earl has the leverage, yet 135-pound unified champion had some way the ability to negotiate a super fight on pay-per-view with arguably a pound-for-pound welterweight. So he had no leverage. He was able to skip Thurman, Porter, Crawford, who's obviously, according to Mike and Bo Mack and Bob Arum, they want the fight. Somehow Mikey, who you say has no leverage, got that position. I mean, it's either we want the fight, or we're gonna argue about who's the bigger A side.
Is not Mikey? Is it Mikey fighting for Earl belt or not?
Absolutely, Earl's belt is on the line
Yeah,
because
then
Mikey is
that
moving
means
up
Earl
to
has the
welterweight.
leverage, but they are using Mikey
do I have to
names
remind
to
you?
make it a pay-per-view. It takes two to tango.
No, do I have to remind you that Mikey was calling out Keith Thurman before Thurman got injured?
Mikey was calling out Keith Thurman.
Yes.
But Keith Thurman doesn't have to fight him. You know why Keith Thurman? You know why Spencer is fighting Mikey? Because them guys don't want to fight him.
Who doesn't want to fight him?
Keith Thurman doesn't want to fight.
Keith Thurman's injured.
Spence right now.
Keith Thurman's injured. But listen,
90 seconds.
Yep, that's your time right there, Joel, because we definitely give you a whole bunch. We went to Joshua, all right? So we need to go to...
We got a super chat from a Pound for Pound boxing channel. Salute to y'all boys. Keep up the good work.
All right, let's go to Stephen Williams. Shout out on Skype. Talk to us.
Hello, guys. How you doing?
All good.
This story, how you've worded it, that it's
60 seconds.
Damage control from Eddie Hearn. I can't see how it's damage control. In every single interview, he says he wants to fight, and they're trying everything to make the fight, but you keep saying that they're ducking the fight. How's that possible?
I mean, you were just literally on the call, dude. Like, are you gonna act like you didn't hear me go over super fights that didn't have any of these ridiculous negotiation tactics, like set fucking venue? Did you see Mayweather Pacquiao have a set venue? Like, hey, you want to fight me? You gotta fight here. Come on, stop your
but Las Vegas.
Here comes the bullshit. All right,
Las
so what about the
Vegas
last bullshit he pulled where it's a flat fee? Have you heard of
10
another
seconds.
super fight with a flat fee? It's only one guy pulling some fast shit.
Listen.
Yeah, listen. I'll listen.
Wilder deserves to get what he gets.
Yeah, I'm sure.
At the end of the day, let me tell you this. Yeah,
Wilder deserves to get what he gets. Okay.
Listen,
Did you feel that way? Did you feel that way? Did you feel that way when Floyd offered Manny a $40 million fee?
Yeah, but it's a bit different there.
How is it fucking different?
They've given. He offered him that money.
No, it's not different, dude. It's not different. That is his nemesis. That is his nemesis.
He offered him based on what he's
draining.
used to getting.
It's fucking draining. You guys are not intelligent enough.
No, you're not intelligent enough to know that Wilder is only popular now.
So if Anthony, listen to me. Listen to me. If Anthony Joshua, right, is Superman, who is Deontay Wilder?
Daffy Duck.
Daffy Duck. Exactly. You obviously had no fucking comic books.
Ass up,
Because listen, you know why he chose Daffy Duck? Because his favorite fighter is a fucking duck, and that's what he associates. Oh God! And only a clown would choose to say duck when you're trying to act like your fighter's not ducking. But that's how, I mean, you see, you're just not bright enough. But keep trying. Listen, the phone lines are open for you guys. The phone lines are open. I will slay any sheep any day.
The sheep is you.
I'm sure. Sure. Yet I'm the one mentioning ducks, Daffy Duck.
Listen, the conversations now are only about Wilder is because he called out AJ. No, but
2 years ago, to be exact. I mean, when do you answer the call? It was 2 years ago, Papa.
2 years ago. When did he answer him? No. Wilder started calling AJ when he went to Wembley.
As soon as he won the belt from Charles Martin.
No. When he saw Wembley, he said, "Oh my gosh, I'm getting little money."
I would have gave you more time, but right there proves that I can't give a dude that isn't knowledgeable enough time. If you haven't watched enough YouTube videos to know that as soon as he won that belt from Charles Martin, he started asking for that fight. I just can't. I can't waste it with you. I'd rather talk to Rob. What up, Rob? I see you. I'm AJ in this metaphor, though. So lifting off for me.
The public agrees with you. We have 81 thumbs up because there are no sheep. And we have 16 thumbs down. So the sheep aren't really here right now.
But I mean, some of the sheep are learning. I mean, it's only so long fake thugs can pretend. What was that rapper said that? Mike in New York, talk to me.
Hello?
You.
Hello. Yeah, okay. I wanna talk to you a little bit I don't talk to your co-host, the Crawford fan, a little bit about boxing. I don't know how long you've been watching boxing or being a fan. But hello?
Yeah, go on. I'm here. I don't duck nobody. What's up?
Okay. Listen carefully. Well, when with Bob, what thing about you understand about him? He do rematches. Manny Pacquiao fought Bradley 3 times. There was no need for that. Manny Pacquiao fought Marquez 4 times. There was no need for that. And what you gotta understand, Manny Pacquiao didn't want to fight. This guy from Australia. What's his name again? I forgot his name.
Jeff Hearn.
My name is Jeff.
Hearn. Jeff Hearn. He was set up to fight Jeff Hearn 2 times. He didn't want no rematch with Jeff Hearn. That's why he moved to him, and he was tired of fighting the same guys. Bob Brown do in-house fights. If he know his fighter may not win the fight, he got nothing to do no business outside the house.
Real quick, has Crawford ever had a rematch?
Because he didn't fight nobody. Who he fought? Tell me
I'm just saying, you're saying Bob always do rematches, and Manny had rematches. Has Crawford ever had a rematch? You know why? He gives motherfuckers out of
you didn't fight nobody. You gotta fight a good fighter to have a rematch, big boy. You gotta fight somebody.
Them PBC come over and play. We want to play with everybody.
Listen,
we ain't ducking no phase. You seen him on the IG page? He's back in the gym right now. He back in the gym right now. While your favorite fighter out here eating, getting tipsy, doing what he do, Crawford in the gym right now training, ready.
I've been really trying. Yo, meanwhile, Mike talking about chill. We trying to get in the camp, but he the reason we got blocked by Earl.
Which I ain't bring up no names. Hold on. Who said anything about Earl? I love Earl. Earl's one of my favorite fighters.
Too late.
Just can't be Spence. I mean, he just can't be Crawford.
Look what you did. Too late.
Let me finish.
Yo, he had Derek James not trying to give out that location for nothing. Like, yo, I ain't giving y'all the little address. I'm like, damn.
Let me finish my point real quick. Tell me from 135 to 147, one good name that Crawford beat. One that we all know. We could tell Eric Spence beat Kell Brook. That's a good name. That's a good fighter. If that's the only one. Bandu was undefeated. I mean, he was lost to Kurt Terman, but he was never stopped. Tell me one good name that we all know. It was a top fight or top fighter that Crawford beat. It didn't stop. One.
He ain't got no answer for that, Mike. You know, Mike just gonna go off the eye
Tell me
test.
one good name.
He beat 2 gold medalists. And he beat the guy that beat Manny Pacquiao.
Who? Therefore, never beat Manny Pacquiao. That was a free. That's
a beat him for the belt. What you mean?
Come on, man. If you're a boxing fan, that's come on, Jeff Hearn.
That's why you can't argue with Mike, because he valued that Jeff Horn win.
Going down in the history books, man. Jeff Horn out here breaking punching bags. He out here breaking punching bags.
That shit was photoshopped.
Listen, Crawford from 135 to 147, he still got to prove himself. I know I hate.
Damn, that's gonna give him 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, you're right. Hey yo, he don't want Mike tapped out. He don't want no more of that work, bro.
Mike took a dive, phantom punch. Mike was like
that
this.
happened on Sunday and Thursday. I missed you guys. Well, Ness was on vacation. He was in DR.
I don't know how anybody missed us when we did plenty of shows stating that we would be on a slight hiatus. Everybody's like, yo, where y'all been at? It's like, come on, wasn't y'all paying attention? Oh, shit. I forgot about Idris. He called back in. Idris, what up?
Yo, well, go on, man. Listen, I know my connection was acting a bit fucked up on that. Yeah, what was I saying, though? I'm not even going to talk about Luis Ortiz, man. We're done with him, man. Everyone knows he's not beating a single undefeated fight in his life. I don't even want to talk about him, yeah? Listen, Mike, I've got some ammunition for you. Next time these lot want to talk shit about Jeff Horn's win against Manny Pacquiao, yeah? Listen to the immediate reaction to that fight, yeah? Everyone who called in thought he beat the shit out of Manny Pacquiao. What happened was Jim Lampley and everyone on Twitter, blah, blah, blah. You know how they go. It was a robbery. It's like brainwashing. If you watch the immediate reaction, it's organic. What everyone thought, what really happened. Jeff Horn beat the shit out of Manny Pacquiao. And if he fought him again, it would have been another Kit Kat versus Chocolatito fight. I don't want to talk about that anyway. Let's talk about your boy Wilder, innit, yeah? I don't know why you guys are stuck with the past thinking, yeah, using that as an excuse to duck Anthony Joshua. Eddie Hearn said, December the 2nd, I want to renegotiate, open negotiation. What is the issue with that?
I mean, the first issue isn't the first issue that you're trying to negotiate a super fight with a set venue. Name one super fight before you answer that. Before you go into the dumb category, please think about another super fight that had a set fucking venue. Because if you just go into the normal Eddie Hearn answer, you are categorized as a dumb motherfucker to me.
I can name.
Go ahead. Help me. Teach
Are you ready
me.
to hear my answer?
Teach me.
Are you ready to hear my answer?
I'm ready to hear it.
You have no idea about any negotiation for you to even say anything like that. You have no idea what kind of fights have been set and how they go down and who gets what and what goes down. So none of us can talk like that. Just because this is public, it doesn't mean it's not private in other fights.
So let me get this straight. Your answer was a hypothetical about me not having knowledge of the situation?
Your answer is a hypothetical that you're assuming.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not, man.
I can name one.
Listen to me. Listen to me. Any super fight that we go back to in history, they've never had a venue set. Go ahead, well, name it. You just fucking said that 2 minutes ago.
No, prove. If I name one, are you going to prove to me that I'm wrong?
I mean, you said you were going to name one 3 minutes ago.
Floyd Mayweather, Las Vegas against Pacquiao. Prove to me that I'm wrong.
Dude.
Prove it.
Because guess what? We didn't know where it was going to take place.
So just all assumptions.
Did we?
Basically...
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Because I don't know. I don't know, because you keep thinking that somehow we're on the same level. Like somehow I don't receive the press releases from Mayweather when he's going to do anything, when he's going to do a turkey drive, when he's going to announce his fight, when he's going to go to a club. Like, you don't think that we receive that? Not just me. You don't think that fucking Dan Rayfield receives that? Like, are you serious? That is your response? This is what I'm saying. Like, stop allowing yourselves to be categorized as an idiot. Like, it's common knowledge, bro. You can go back on any super fight and go through negotiations. They're all out there, archived. Boxing Scene and ESPN are very big websites. You just got to Google. Google Mayweather Pacquiao. Google Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson. There's no venue set. And if there is, prove me wrong. And then I'm going to have to say, shit, I didn't know. I don't know. Maybe probably because you know what? In Don King era, I bet you Don King had who did Tyson fight? Well, that wasn't considered a super fight anyway. When Tyson fought Buster Douglas in China, that wasn't even a fucking super fight because that dude was like a 28-1. Nobody 40-1. Like, I'm telling you, bro, like super fights aren't done that way, man. Like, get out of here. Anyway, let me throw this.
Jack is the truth. Deontay Daffy Duck Wilder.
Yeah.
Emotion.
Yeah. But all I know is that analogy with that was Nemesis. You think of any, Marvel superhero, they all have their natural nemesis. It's not build it up to the fucking nemesis. These guys are retarded. It's like, oh, the nemesis doesn't have a good enough resume yet. Motherfucker, who else out there is that other fighter's threat? Like, people want to see Crawford Spence because they believe each other can beat each other. You know what I mean? It's just like, no, I don't want to see Wilder versus Joshua because one of those guys might win and it just might not be the one I want to win. So I'd rather not see it. That's a great logic. Whatever. So, yeah, man. It's good to be back, bro. Good to be back. This is always fun.
It's so serious.
What is this guy saying? Ness closing because he didn't want to accept the Mayweather point. What Mayweather point?
That the fights with Mayweather are always going to be in Vegas.
I mean, that is a point that could be argued, but we all know that Mayweather is going to be open to the biggest bidder. And that's why MGM has always gotten them, because they've given them the most amount of money. Again, these things are Google searches away, right? Like, I remember one time, I think MGM gave him $25 million. And another time, I know for sure they gifted him the Bugatti. And now Rob is rolling his head back. He just doesn't like facts, man. All right, Rob, I'm sorry. All right.
I'm touching my neck. It's fine. Carry on.
I don't know. It just so happens that we're talking about Mayweather not having a set venue, which doesn't work in the favor of your champion. But I'll just say my name is Nestor Gibbs. Find me on Instagram and Twitter at NSGTL. Listen, I won't stop though. I wanted to be back at 9 a.m. These guys were busy, but I'm here.
I was working. Mike was sleeping.
I'm here to talk that shit.
Saturday morning at 9.
I'm here to talk that shit. Is all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
Monday through Friday, all day, every day. That's Saturday morning. Push it back to 11 for me.
Exactly. It wasn't Mayweather about to fight in Tokyo. I thought all his fights was in MGM. Shut your face up.
But you can follow me on IG at Gross1911 or on Twitter at Gross2312 and tune to the channel next week. I got some stuff coming out with a light heavyweight. He's from the UK. Can't think of his name right now, but he's on the December 22nd Josh Warrington card. So I got a hopefully interview with Ennis, the guy who was on Showbox last week, Jerron Ennis. Boots, yeah. Jerron Boots Ennis. So check out for that one, and hopefully Andrew Schultz and hopefully Spencer Farhood too. So be on the lookout for those.
Yeah, keep it up, Mike. It's good stuff, But yeah, everyone get hyped, I guess. Wilder Fury fight week. It's going to be pretty crazy, I think. So Tyson Fury's back,
and all you motherfuckers are under attack.
So look out when you get there, Nez, because the Fury army is going to be there. I'm not sure you're going Tuesday. Is it you're going to be landing?
I land Tuesday.
Okay, cool. And Ring Walk Danny's going to be doing his thing as well, I think. So yeah, keep your eye on the channel, everybody. There'll be some good content. Hopefully, I don't know about fight week, but hopefully there's some exclusive Wilder content. You know how Nez does. He got his boy and gets that access, hopefully. So there should be some good stuff up on the channel. But yeah, follow me Instagram and Twitter at UKRobTBV. And yeah, I guess we'll be back pretty soon. Flagship Sunday, maybe.
Definitely. Flagship Sunday. Probably tonight if there's a worthy fight. Who's fighting tonight?
Bivol
versus who?
Pascal.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it was a little heated at the weigh-in, but just
to know that we're gonna be doing live fight chat for that Wilder Fury. For all you people that want to see me cry, tune in.
Yeah, because
I'm knocking you the fuck out, Bob. We are Spartans!
Every time he plays the soundbite that he's gonna knock him out, he just makes me more confident. It's like hearing that over and over. It's like, yeah, right. Who's he knocked out?
I know. But yeah, you should be. Look, this is your man's big moment. You get hyped. This is.
And shout out to
over the edge.
Shout out to Michael Hunter for his KO victory over Ustinov.
Yeah.
Everybody got an opinion, in that chat. Earn some stripes. You want a wrench? Earn some stripes. How long you been here? Earn some stripes. You know what I'm saying? Put a feather in your cap or your hat. You know what I mean? Get a scalp. Build your resume. Don't be like Mike.
Like Doomy. He's built his resume.
Nah, he hasn't. Doomy about to get stripped. Doomy about to get stripped of the wrench, B.
The sanctioning body's going to strip his wrench. He missed weight. You
too. You don't even use your wrench. You about to get stripped.
Take it. It's still good. It's still good.
He doesn't want the power. He's too UK. UK fucking soft. He doesn't even want the power. I don't want to be the one timing anymore now.
Yeah, you've given it Kaz, the biggest fucking hater in the chat. Come on.
Well, there you go. So who's the equal other side?
Oh,
If Kaz is a hater, there has to be a nemesis to Kaz. This is what I'm saying. Is it AD?
You need someone.
Is it AD or is it Basil?
You need someone with a level head.
I thought you had a level head. That's
Now,
why I gave you rent.
this channel made me fucking.
Untitled on your Dominican Republic trip. Yeah,
What?
yeah.
What?
You got to do an untitled on your Dominican Republic.
Of course, a horse is a horse. Yes, Jack, Ness is bald. Right. Like, you obviously are blind. Bald is not I.
You can't handle the truth.
Bald is like Bernstein. This, I haven't even gotten a haircut here since maybe last week sometime. And I usually get less than a half because I like that skin tight. So you see, this is hair. So, you know. Now, since Rob wants to play sound bites,
A Sharpie. That's all little dots you done with a Sharpie.
Rob wants to play sound bites. Take a look at Exhibit Rob, and that is what bald looks like. All right, no problem. But anyway, yeah, man, we've talked enough, rambled. I mean, the beat went off. This was I mean, Rob, you have to do your normal. You just have to leave. If not, I won't get it. Like, I missed this thing.
Yeah, all right, I'm out. Later.
All right, well, bye. Bye.